Certain basic concepts will be discussed from today onwards. First, let us discuss evolution. Evolution. What is anthropology? Study of evolution of man and his culture. That means we are going to study the evolution of man and evolution of culture. To understand the evolution of man, first of all, we should know the general principles or the general theories with regard to evolution. There are certain general principles, there are certain general theories. First, let us discuss theories. First one is Lamarck's theories on evolution. Evolution is nothing but transition from simple form to complex forms. During the process of evolution, there will be changes. Because of changes, complex organisms will be produced. That's why evolution is a process which involves the production of complex forms from simple forms. Evolution is a process in which there is a production of complex forms from simple forms. How the evolution is taking place? With regard to the evolution, certain theories were proposed. Out of those theories, the first theory is Lamarckism. Lamarckism. Lamarckism was proposed by Lamarck. That's why it is called Lamarckism. He tried to explain evolution. He was the first biologist who tried to explain the process of evolution. After that, Darwin came forward with another theory that is called Darwinism or natural selection theory. Natural selection theory. After that, Hugo de Vries came forward with another theory that is called mutation theory. Mutation theory. Three important theories. Later, because of developments in the field of molecular biology and biotechnology, we came to have different understanding of mutations. And at the same time, because of contributions made by Gregor John Mendel, the understanding of genetics was improved. That's why the present day understanding is entirely different from the past understanding. But first of all, to understand the present day evolution or present day concepts, we must know the old concepts. First one is Lamarckism. It's also called, okay, we'll discuss the second name later. Lamarckism consists of four principles. Lamarckism consists of four principles. One is tendency to increase in size. Tendency to increase in size. And internal urge. Internal urge. Second one is environmental changes or environmental change. And new needs. After that, use and disuse. Use and disuse. After that, inheritance of acquired characters. Inheritance of acquired characters. He tried to explain how new forms are produced from the old forms. In evolution, because of increase in complexity, ultimately what happens? New forms will be produced. To explain the formation of new life forms, based on his observations, he came forward with a theory. That theory advocates that all the animals and plants, they have tendency to increase in size. All the plants and animals have tendency to increase in size. That tendency will be realized upon internal urge. Upon internal urge. చిన్నప్పుడు మీకు కూడా ఈ కోరికలు కలిగి ఉంటాయి. చిన్నప్పుడు నేను ఇప్పుడు పెద్దన్న అవుతాను అని చెప్పేసి. తర్వాత కదా కష్టాలు తెలిసి వచ్చేది. చిన్నప్పుడు హాయిగా ఉంటుంది, కానీ పెద్దలను చూసి అబ్బా మనం కూడా పెద్దలు అయితే బాగుండు అంటారు. తర్వాత గ్రాడ్యువల్గా మనం కూడా పెరిగి పెద్దలు అవుతాం. ఇట్లా ఆయన ఏమన్నాడంటే, theories are nothing but stories based on their experience. Don't try to find out logic here. First of all, try to understand what they have been explaining. He said that according to him, all the plants and animals have the tendency to increase in size. That tendency will be realized upon internal urge. Whenever there is internal urge, then there will be increase in the size of the organs or body parts. That is the first principle. Second principle is environmental change and new needs. Definitely environment changes. Environment is not static. It keeps on changing. That's why because of environmental changes, definitely new needs arise. For us also, in summer there will be different needs, in winter there will be different needs. Am I correct or not? Accordingly we will change our dress patterns, food habits. Am I correct or not? That's why whenever environment changes, definitely new needs arise. In order to satisfy those needs, or in order to meet those new needs, certain parts of our body or certain organs will be used excessively. Certain organs may not be used at all. The organs which are put to constant use, they gradually increase in size. Whereas the organs which are not used, they gradually decrease in size. That increase in size or decrease in size is called an acquired character. In the lifetime of an animal or plant, because of new needs, certain organs may be used, certain organs may not be used. That's why there may be increase in size or decrease in size. That increase in size or decrease in size is called acquired character. That acquired character will be transmitted to the next generation. That is called inheritance of acquired characters to the next generation. Transmission to the next generation is called inheritance. Because of the inheritance of acquired characters, over a period of number of generations, there will be a formation of new species. This theory was explained with the help of one example. There are many examples we took. I'll tell you one example at this point of time. Giraffe. Now you know how the giraffes are. Giraffes have elongated forelimbs, elongated neck. According to him, the ancestors of giraffes, they have equal sized forelimbs and hind limbs. Both the front legs and back legs both are equal in size. Neck was also short. The giraffes were grazing animals at that point of time, even today also. These grazing, because of the grazing, the grass was depleted on the land. The lands became barren. Then, in order to survive, they forced to depend on the leaves or foliage of the lower branches of the trees. That's why they started extending the neck. Initially, they have equal sized forelimbs and hind limbs. Later, in order to reach the foliage of the lower branches of the trees, they started extending the neck. At the time of lifting up the head and neck, in order to support the body, they started stretching the front limbs also. Because of elongation of the neck and forelimbs, because of the stretching of the neck and forelimbs, there was increment in their length to some extent. Say for example, 5 centimeters. Next generation, the next generation giraffes will be born with that increased length. And again in the next generation, again they may stretch. Why? Because the foliage and the lower branches of the trees may be over. Again they have to reach higher branches. Again they will stretch. Again 5 centimeters more increment. Then total 10 centimeters. That acquired character will be transmitted to the next generation. In the next generation again they stretched. Like that, because of continuous stretching of the neck and forelimbs, the present day giraffes came into existence. That means environment was changed. Basically, according to him, basically the animals have the tendency to increase in size. Environment was changed. Then new need came into existence. What is that new need? Reaching the lower branches of the trees. Then they started extending the neck. That's why whenever there is internal urge to increase the length of the neck, the body size increased. The length of the limbs was increased. The length of the neck was increased. That's why there is tendency to increase in size. That tendency was realized upon internal urge, and that internal urge was generated because of new needs, which in turn were created because of environmental change. Because of environmental change, new needs came into existence. They started using excessively the neck and forelimbs. That is called use principle. Because of continuous usage, there is increase in the length of the neck and forelimbs. Gradually there is elongation of neck and forelimbs. That's why the present day giraffes came into existence. Similarly, once upon a time, snakes have 4 limbs, but they adopted a creeping habit. For creeping habit, limbs are not required. That's why they did not use their limbs. Because of disuse, that size was decreased. The size of the limbs were decreased, and in due course of time, finally they disappeared. That's why the present day snakes are without limbs. If you observe on the belly side of the snake, you can come across small depressions here and there. If this is the body of a snake, here and there you can come across small depressions, which are the remnants of the limbs. Once upon a time they have 4 limbs, but because of adoption of creeping habit, they did not use their limbs. That's why they gradually decreased in size generation after generation, and finally they disappeared. That's why either because of use or because of disuse, new characters appear. Those new characters are called acquired characters. Those acquired characters will be transmitted to the next generation. That's why, because of transmission of acquired characters to the next generation, after so many generations, entirely a different form will be produced. When entirely a different form is produced, that is called a species, one variety of animal. One variety of animal is called species. That's why, because of inheritance of acquired characters, new species originates. That's why Lamarckism is also called theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Lamarckism is also called theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Why? Ultimately, new species originates because of inheritance of acquired characters. How these characters are acquired? Because of tendency to increase in size, internal urge, environmental change and new needs, use and disuse. This is Lamarckism. The next theory is Darwinism. Darwinism is also called natural selection theory. Natural selection theory. There is one biologist by name Malthus. Malthus. Malthus, he wrote an essay on population, how the population size increases, how the population size is kept under check. On different aspects of the size of the population, he wrote an article. After going through that article, our Darwin was inspired and he proposed his theory. We have Malthus theory also in our syllabus. Same principles will be here also. To be frank, Darwin copied from Malthus. He said that animals have the capacity to increase their population in geometric ratio. Animals have the capacity to increase their population in geometric ratio. Geometric increase in population. We have the capacity to increase the population in geometric ratio. That means 2 will become 4, 4 will become 8, 8 will become 16, 16 will become 32, 32 will become 64, 64 will become 128, like this. Animals have the capacity to increase their population. Actually, this is smaller magnitude. Consider human beings. If there are no economic constraints, then we can produce 10 children. Again, next generation 10. Again 10, 10, 10, 10, like that. But here I took only 2. Every time there is doubling of population. Animals have the capacity to increase their population size. There is one small microorganism by name paramecium. Paramecium. Microorganism, single-celled animal. It will be like this. It is called slipper animalcule. slipper animal kill, microscopic, we can see it only under a microscope. But this paramecium undergoes binary fission, that means division into two, one divides into two. Like that, one paramecium can undergo division once in 16 hours. That means 3 times in 2 days. If all the paramecia survive and if they reproduce at the same rate, after 5 years, the cytoplasmic mass, that means the mass of all the paramecia is 10,000 times that of the earth. అన్నీ కూడా సర్వై ప్రతిరోజు డబుల్ అవుతూ పోతూ ఉంటే ఒక 5 సంవత్సరాలు పోయిన తర్వాత చూస్తే వాటి సైజ్ ఎంత ఉండాలంటే మన ఎర్త్ కన్నా కూడా 10,000 టైమ్స్ అవుతుంది. If all the paramecia, microscopic organisms, if all the paramecia survive and if they reproduce at the same rate, after 5 years, the mass of all the paramecia will be 10,000 times that of the earth. That like that, animals have enormous reproductive potential. We can increase the population geometric ratio, but there is scarcity of resources. We can increase the population size. What about resources for survival? We need land for shelter, we need water, we need food, but the resources are not increasing in geometric ratio. We can increase the resources only in arithmetic ratio. Arithmetic ratio means 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, like this. Animals have the capacity to increase their population in geometric ratio, but the resources which are required for their survival can be increased only in arithmetic ratio. That too, after some time, there will not be any increase in the resources also. A law of diminishing returns. మనము ఫారెస్ట్ను క్లియర్ చేసుకుంటూ ల్యాండ్ కొద్ది పెంచుకుంటూ పోతాం. ఇంకొన్ని రోజులు పోయిన తర్వాత ఇంక పెరుగుతుందా? భూమండలాన్ని మొత్తాన్ని ఆక్యుపై చేసి ఇంక అంతకన్నా పెరగదు కదా. అట్లాగే ల్యాండ్ నుంచి ఒక ఎకరా ల్యాండ్ నుంచి మనకి ఒక 35 క్వింటాల్స్ ఆఫ్ రైస్ వస్తుంది అనుకోండి. ఒకప్పుడు 20, తర్వాత పెరుగుతూ 40 వచ్చింది. 40 నుంచి 1000 అయితే కాదు కదా, మహా అయితే ఇంకొక 40 పెరుగుద్దేమో అంతే. దట్స్ వై ఆఫ్టర్ రీచింగ్ సర్టెన్ లెవెల్ ఆర్ సర్టెన్ స్టేజ్ there will not be increase in production. That's why always there is a limitation on the resources. Animals have the capacity to increase their population size. మనకి రెస్ట్రిక్షన్స్ లేవనుకోండి. ఒక ఫీమేల్ can produce nearly 30 children in her reproductive lifespan. A female comes to sexual maturity at the age of 10 years. Let us assume if she is producing one child every year, the reproductive potential of female becomes 0 at the age of 45 years. Then 10 to 45 years, 35 years are there. That means 35 children that she can produce. But are we producing like that? No, we are producing nowadays 2 or 1. We are hesitating to produce 3 also nowadays. Why? Because resources are not there. It's not possible for us to feed all the children. If all the people produce children like this in geometric ratio, after some time there will be competition for the sake of resources. ఒకప్పుడు రిసోర్సెస్ అనేవి కావాల్సిన ఉన్నాయి, ఇప్పుడు లేవు. ల్యాండ్ ఎక్కడ కాడితే అక్కడ వాళ్ళు పోయి ల్యాండ్ క్లియర్ చేయడమే వ్యవసాయం చేసుకునేవాళ్ళు. ఇప్పుడు అట్లా కాదు, ల్యాండ్ కూడా డిమాండ్ ఎక్కువ అయిపోయింది. అవునా కదా? బికాస్ ది పీపుల్ ఆర్ ఇంక్రీస్డ్ but the resources are not increasing like that. The people are increasing in geometric ratio, but the resources are not increasing in that ratio. That's why the net result is scarcity, mismatch. Scarcity of resources will be there. This way, he said that animals have the capacity to increase in population in geometric ratio, but the resources increase only in arithmetic ratio. Because of this, there will be scarcity of resources. Scarcity of resources. Whenever there is scarcity of resources, for the sake of those scarce resources, there will be competition. ల్యాండ్ కావాల్సినంత ఉందంటే ఎవడు కొట్టుకోడు, ఎవడు కడితే అక్కడక్కడ సెటిల్ అయిపోతారు. ఉన్న ల్యాండే తక్కువ అన్నప్పుడు నాకు ఇది కావాలి, ఇది నా ల్యాండ్ అని కొట్టుకుంటారా లేదా? Atla here, whenever there is scarcity of resources, for the sake of those scarce resources, there will be competition. That competition is called struggle for existence. Why? Because those resources are essential for survival. That's why the competition can be called as a struggle for existence. Struggle for existence. Struggle for existence. Struggle for existence. Here he said that all the animals and plants are not similar. Definitely there will be some variations. Between you and me there are certain variations. Even between the children of a particular person also we can come across variations. అన్నదమ్ముల మధ్య కూడా కొన్ని variations ఉంటాయి. In all the plants and animals we can come across variations. Now in the struggle for existence, certain variations may become useful, certain variations may become harmful depending upon the context. That's it. Say for example, under normal circumstances having stout body, lean body, which is more advantageous? Stout body. Why? Because he can have self defense, even he can attack other people also. That's why if there is competition for the sake of food resources, stout person can succeed in that fight for the food resources. But that means stout body is one variety, a lean body is another variety. That means two variations are there with respect to body shape. Then in that context, which is useful? Having stout body. That's why that is called useful variation. Having lean body is called harmful variation because they cannot survive. Consider the same characters. If they are going through a forest, if they encounter one tiger or lion, then who can succeed? Lean person, because he can run fast. Am I correct or not? In that circumstance, a lean body is useful. Like this, depending upon the context, a character may become useful or a character may become harmful. But in all the animals, definitely there will be variations. Because of these variations, sometimes they get advantages, sometimes they get disadvantages. Whenever there is a struggle for existence, in the struggle for existence, the animals with useful variations survive. Say for example, if there is one lean dog and if there is another dog which is having good muscle mass, and if there is competition between those two dogs for the sake of one piece of meat, then who will succeed? The dog with good musculature. Am I correct or not? That means that will survive, the lean dog will be eliminated. Why? Because of lack of food it will die. This dog, strong dog, survives when it participates in reproduction, its characters will be transmitted to the next generation. That means that character, that stout character will be transmitted to the next generation. That means the useful variations will be transmitted to the next generation. Why? Because the people with useful variations survive. That's why whenever they participate in reproduction, their useful variations will be transmitted to the next generation. Like that, in every generation there will be struggle for existence. Without struggle for existence, we cannot survive. Because there is scarcity of resources. Because of selection of number of useful variations after so many generations, a new set of characters appear in a particular animal. When a new set of characters appear or are developed, accumulate in a particular animal when compared with its ancestor which lived 20 generations back or 30 generations back, definitely appearance will be entirely different. Whenever it is entirely different from its ancestors, then it can be called as one variety of animal, that is nothing but species. In that way, new species originates. That's why he said that in the struggle for existence, the animals with useful variations survive. That is called survival of the fittest. That is called survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest is because of useful variations. Because of the survival of the fittest, useful variations will be transmitted to the next generation. That's why there will be gradual accumulation of number of variations, gradual accumulation of number of variations, and finally it results in origin of new species. Origin of new species. Origin of new species. Here, the struggle for existence is responsible for the survival of animals with useful variations. If there is no struggle for existence, if there is a plenty of resources, if the resources are abundant, then is there any need for struggle? ఫుడ్ కావాల్సినంత ఉందనుకో, ఇంక వాళ్ళు కొట్టుకోవాల్సిన పని లేదు, అందరికీ ఫుడ్ దొరుకుతుంది, అందరూ సర్వే అవుతారు, అందరి క్యారెక్టర్స్ నెక్స్ట్ జనరేషన్కి పోతాయి. ఇంకప్పుడు కొత్త క్యారెక్టర్స్ వస్తాయా? రావు. నౌ హియర్ దట్ స్ట్రగుల్ ఈజ్ క్రియేటెడ్ బై ది నేచర్ by limiting the resources. In the nature by limiting the resources that are available in a particular place, it is responsible for the creation of struggle for existence. Because of struggle for existence, the animals with useful variations are surviving. That is called natural selection. Nature is selecting those animals with useful variations. How? By limiting the resources. That's why here nature is acting as a selecting force. Why? Because by limiting the resources that are available in the environment, it is creating struggle for existence. It is responsible for the survival of some animals and the transmission of those characters to the next generation. And finally, origin of new species. That's why this is called natural selection. Nature is acting as a selecting agent. Why? It is responsible for the creation of struggle for existence. Because of the struggle for existence, the animals with useful variations are surviving. Because of their survival, their variations are transmitted to the next generation. Like that, when number of variations are transmitted over a period of number of generations, entirely a different set of animal or a different set of variety comes into existence. In that way, new species originates. As the nature is acting as selecting agent, this is called natural selection theory. This is Darwinism or natural selection theory. There is geometric increase in population size, but the increase in resources is taking place only arithmetic ratio, because of which scarcity of resources is the result. Because of scarcity of resources, struggle for existence is the consequence. In the struggle for existence, the animals with useful variations survive. That is called survival of the fittest. Because of the survival of the fittest, there will be gradual accumulation of useful variations. Because of gradual accumulation of useful variations, there will be origin of new species. This is natural selection theory. Darwin said that because of accumulation of useful variations, gradually over a period of number of generations, because of number of struggles for existence, new species originates. Darwin emphasized that because of gradual accumulation of variations over a period of so many generations, new species originates. But sometimes suddenly a new species may originate. How the new species is originating all of a sudden? If Darwin's theory is correct, then why now and then some species are suddenly appearing? You can see now and then there is production of offsprings with 2 heads or 6 legs in the animals you can come across. If Darwin's theory is correct, in one generation there will be appearance of one head bud, next generation increase in size, next generation increase in size. It must be there. Gradual accumulation must be there. Why suddenly new characters are appearing? To explain that, Hugo de Vries proposed a theory that is called mutation theory. Mutation theory. He said that now and then suddenly some new variations appear in the populations. Now and then suddenly, they are not taking place continuously. Darwinism relies on continuous variations, continuous accumulation of variations, but here it is not so. He said that now and then suddenly new characters appear. Those new characters are called mutations. Sudden variations appear. Sudden variations. That too, they are large variations. They can be seen very clearly. If there is appearance of one more head, it can be seen very clearly. Now and then suddenly new variations appear. Sudden variations, large variations appear. Large variations. Once they appear, from then onwards, they will be transmitted from one generation to another generation. Now and then suddenly some large variations appear suddenly. From then onwards, they will be transmitted from one generation to another generation. That's why they are called inheritable variations. Inheritable variations. Inheritable variations. He said that In animal population, sudden, large and inheritable variations are మీకు అర్థం కావడం కోసం ఫస్ట్ ముక్కలు చేసి చెప్పాను. ఎగ్జామ్ literally sudden, large and inheritable variations appear in the population. They are called mutations. They are called mutations. Mutations are nothing but variations. Mutations are nothing but variations. But what are those characters? They are sudden, large and inheritable. Sudden, large, inheritable variations are called mutations. Mutations are nothing but variations. While discussing Darwinism also, I told you variations can be divided into two varieties, useful variations and harmful variations. Similarly, here also he said that mutations can be divided into two varieties, useful mutations, harmful mutations. Useful mutations and harmful mutations. Then they will be subjected to natural selection. In the natural selection, the animals with useful variations survive, whereas the animals with harmful variations will be eliminated. That means they will be transmitted to the next generation. That means even though there is presence of two types of mutations, because of natural selection, only useful mutations will be transmitted to the next generation, but not harmful mutations. Why? Because on the mutations nature operates. Because of operation of nature, there will be selection of only one type of mutations, but not the other variety. That means here also natural selection works. Now and then sudden, large, inheritable variations that appear in populations are called mutations. Mutations are of two varieties, useful mutations and harmful mutations. They will be subjected to natural selection. In the natural selection, the animals with useful mutations survive and the animals with harmful mutations will be eliminated. Even after elimination, again the same type of mutation may appear again. ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక క్రిమినల్ ఉన్నాడు, వాడిని ఉరేసి చంపేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ కొన్ని రోజుల తర్వాత ఇంకొక ఎదవ పుట్టుకొస్తాడు కదా, వాళ్ళిద్దరి మధ్య జంటి కాంటాక్ట్ ఉండాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. వాడి పిల్లలే క్రిమినల్స్ అవ్వాల్సిన పని ఇంకొకటి తయారవుతాడు. అట్లా ఇక్కడ కూడా ఏమవుతుందంటే ఈవెన్ దో ది హార్మ్ఫుల్ మ్యుటేషన్స్ ఆర్ ఎలిమినేటెడ్, అగైన్ దే మే రీఅపియర్ డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ ది ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ కండిషన్స్. That's why the mutations are recurrent in nature. That's why in every population mutations appear. Because of mutations, when mutations appear, again natural selection operates. Only useful mutations will be transmitted to the next generation. Even though useful mutations are transmitted to the next generation, now and then again harmful mutations may appear, but nature will take care of by eliminating them again and again. This is called mutation theory of ego debris. Because every time useful variations are transmitted to the next generation because of natural selection. That's why after some time there will be a new variety of animal. Of course, in the beginning itself a new variety of animal will be there. Why? Suddenly one new variety appear, that too large. That means very large change can be seen. That's why new species may appear suddenly. Once if they appear, from then onwards that will survive. Why? Because of operation of natural selection. This is another theory. In the beginning he gave this type of explanation, but nowadays we have different concept about mutations. The present day mutation is entirely different from the mutation concept of ego debris. కాకపోతే ఫస్ట్ ఆయన ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేశాడు ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్. అసలు ఎందుకు వస్తున్నాయి, వై ది సడన్ లార్జ్ అండ్ ఇన్హెరిటబుల్ వేరియేషన్స్ ఆర్ కమింగ్ ఇన్ టు ఎగ్జిస్టెన్స్. He was unaware of the factors responsible at that point of time. Later we realized that the changes in our DNA are responsible for the origin of new characters. That's why the present day concept is change in DNA is nothing but a mutation. Because of change in DNA, new characters are appearing. Because of new characters, new species is originating. But once upon a time he was unaware of all these things. He proposed in the beginning of 20th century, 1902 I think, 1902 or 1904. At that point of time, these developments were not there. Electronic microscopes were not there, electron microscopes were not there, and many developments in the field of biotechnology were not there. That's why he was unaware of all those things. He said that now and then suddenly large characters appear. From then onwards they will be transmitted from one generation to another generation. Because of these mutations, a new species is originating. But later we realized that the underlying reason is change in DNA sequence. That's why the present day concept is change in DNA sequence is nothing but mutation. Because of mutations, new species appear. Because of mutations, new characters appear, new species appear. This is about mutation theory of Hugo Davis. Now, in human beings, the genes are transmitted from one generation to another generation, or the changes in DNA are transmitted from one generation to another generation through sexual reproduction. That means my genes will be transmitted to the next generation along with the genes of my wife. Am I correct or not? Here there will be mixing of two different sets of genes. And during the formation of zygote, the beginning stage of our life is called zygote, the first cell that is formed in the womb of a mother. And sometimes there may be errors. Because of errors we may get certain diseases also. Generally, in human beings, the number of chromosomes is 46. That means 23 pairs. 23 pairs. 23 pairs. One set of 23 is from mother, one set of 23 is from father. 23 pairs of chromosomes are there. In human beings, 23 pairs of chromosomes means don't think that those 23 pairs of chromosomes will be here or here or here or here. Our body is made up of the basic units by name cells. Inside each and every cell, chromosomes will be there. Whenever we say that in human beings the number of chromosomes is 46 or 23 pairs, that means inside each and every cell there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. Now, see, 23 pairs of chromosomes. In these 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs control our body characters. Whereas the last pair controls our sex related characters. That's why they are called sex chromosomes. The chromosomes which control our body characters, they are called autosomes. In our body, 22 pairs of chromosomes are autosomes. One pair is sex chromosomes. The sex chromosomes are of two different varieties. One is X and another one is Y. In our human populations, two types of sex chromosomes are there. An individual can accommodate same variety or different varieties. Two combinations are there. We may have XX or XY. If we have XX type of picture, then they will become females. If they have XY type of picture, then they will become males. Now, in males, and this is the genetic picture, 44 plus XY. In females, 44 plus XX. 44 plus XX. Now, in our body cells undergo divisions. They are called cell divisions. Cell divisions are of two varieties. Cell divisions are of two varieties. One is called mitosis and another one is called meiosis. In mitosis, the cell undergoes different changes in order to produce same type of cell. Say for example, if there is a person with this type of genetic picture, This cell undergoes division to produce same type of cell. That means a cell with 44xy, a cell with 44xy. Like this. There are a number of mechanisms. They are not required for you at this point of time. Whenever a cell is dividing to produce exactly same type of cell, then that is called mitosis. Sometimes it undergoes division like this, 44 plus xy. The cell will be divided into two equal parts. Chromosomes will be divided into two equal parts. One cell gets 22 plus x, another cell gets 22 plus y. This is called meiosis. This is called meiosis. In our body, under normal circumstances, mitosis takes place. Say for example, if there is cut injury here, and that wound has to be sealed by new cells. In all the cells, same type of genetic picture must be there. The newly formed cells must be similar to old cells. That's why same type of cells have to be produced. That's why mitosis takes place. Because of mitosis, wound healing takes place. Regeneration takes place. Regeneration means formation of the active organ. If there is loss of cells, again new cells will be formed. That's why, because of mitosis plays an important role during wound healing or regeneration. But meiosis is required under normal circumstances. You can remember blindly, always in our body this type of division takes place. Only one exception is there. What is that exception? Meiosis takes place only at the time of formation of sex cells. At the time of formation of sex cells. Now see, in the males, 44 plus xy is their condition. Females, 44 plus xx. If the same genetic condition is maintained, and if these are male sex cells and female sex cells, and if they fuse together, then what happens? 88 plus xxxy. And then human beings will not be produced. A different variety of animal will be produced. అవునా కదా? మనలో, మన పేరెంట్స్లో, లేకపోతే మన నెక్స్ట్ జనరేషన్లో సేమ్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ క్రోమోజోమ్స్, సేమ్ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ క్రోమోజోమ్స్ ఉంటాయి. అప్పుడే ఒక వెరైటీ ఆఫ్ యానిమల్ మెయింటైన్ అవుతుంది. A species will be maintained. That's why to maintain the same number of chromosomes, here it undergoes division. In the sex cells, the chromosomal number will be reduced to half. అందుకని ఇక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతుంది అంటే డివిజన్ జరుగుతుంది. 22 plus x. These 44 divided into two equal parts. 22 enter into one sex cell, 22 enter into another sex cell. And these sex chromosomes divide equally. One sex chromosome enters into one cell, another sex chromosome enters into another cell. That means 22 plus y. That means males produce two types of sex cells. One sex cell is with X chromosome, another sex cell is containing Y chromosome. What about females? 22 plus x, 22 plus x. That means in the male, two types of sex cells are produced. In the females, one type of sex cell is produced. Now at the time of reproduction, males deposit the sperms, sex cells, in the female reproductive tract at the time of sexual reproduction. In the sperms, the male sex cells are called sperms. In the sperms, there will be all varieties of cells. And females release ova. In the ova, there will be any one of these varieties. That means same type of picture will be there. Now, by chance, every month, actually females release only one ovum. Only one ovum, female releases. But the males deposit sperms. That liquid containing male sperms is called semen. Semen contains millions of sperms. Out of those millions of sperms, 50% are of this variety, 50% are of this variety. Any one variety can fuse with this. If this variety fuses with this, then we'll get 44 plus xx. If this variety fuses with this, then 44 plus xy. That means the sex of the baby, this is called zygote. The product that is formed because of fusion of male sex cells and female sex cells is called zygote. That will be formed in the uterus of the female. From then onwards, it undergoes mitosis. It undergoes mitosis. Please remember, only at this time, only at the time of formation of sex cells, meiosis. In all the remaining circumstances, mitosis. It undergoes repeated cell divisions. 1 will become 2, 2 will become 4, 4 will become 8, 8 will become 16. Like that, billions of cells will be produced. Those cells are in due course of time undergo modification to form head, trunk, legs, then upper limbs, eyes, nose, heart, all those things. Gradually, it takes 3 months of time. One miniature baby will be produced in the womb of a female by the end of 3 months of pregnancy. ఫస్ట్ జైగోట్ ఫామ్ అయిన తర్వాత 3 months లోపు ఆ ఒక్క సెల్ కాస్త ఆ జైగోట్ కాస్త రిపీటెడ్గా డివైడ్ అయ్యి బిలియన్స్ ఆఫ్ సెల్స్ వస్తాయి. అవన్నీ కూడా ఫస్ట్ ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఫస్ట్ బిలియన్స్ ఆఫ్ సెల్స్ ఇట్లా వచ్చేస్తాయి. నంబర్ ఆఫ్ సెల్స్ అపియర్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ మైటాసిస్ ఆఫ్ జైగోట్. లేటర్ ఇట్ అండర్గోస్ రీజనలైజేషన్. ఏమవుతుంది అంటే it undergoes regionalization like this. After that, there will be appearance of different parts. Like this. One miniature baby will be produced by the end of 3 months of pregnancy. That means all the cells are produced from the zygote. Zygote undergoes mitotic division. Mitotic division means same type of cells will be produced. That's why in all the cells, whatever the genetic picture that is there in the zygote, the same genetic picture will be here. కాకపోతే ఇక్కడ XX వచ్చింది అనుకో అమ్మాయిగా మారుతుంది, XY వస్తే అబ్బాయిగా మారుతుంది. దట్స్ ఇట్. Based on the sex chromosomes, that baby becomes either male or female depending upon the probability. Sometimes errors may appear. Because of errors, we may get different varieties of individuals. Sometimes we'll get certain individuals having both sex organs, males as well as female sex organs. Sometimes sex chromosomes will be normal, but the autosomes may be abnormal. Instead of 44, 45 may be there. Then a total number of chromosomes will be 47. Then they will be getting different new characters. Based on the number of extra chromosomes or based on the combination of sex chromosomes, we will get different abnormalities. They are called chromosomal aberrations. Chromosomal aberrations are nothing but change in the number or structure of the chromosomes is called chromosomal aberration. Change in the number or structure of chromosomes. Change in the number or structure of chromosomes is called chromosomal aberrations. These chromosomal aberrations can be divided into 2 categories. They are numerical aberrations and structural aberrations. That means numerical aberrations means in the zygote, instead of 46 chromosomes, there may be 45 or 47 chromosomes, sometimes 48, 49 also. Instead of normal number, abnormal number of chromosomes will be there. Structural aberrations means number is same, 46 chromosomes, but there will be change in the structure of particular chromosomes. A particular part of the chromosome may be deleted, may be cut. It may be lost during the process of transmission from one generation to another generation. మనం ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ చేసేటప్పుడు జైగోట్ ఫామ్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు ఆ మధ్యలో ఎప్పుడో ఒకప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఒక క్రోమోజోమ్ ఒకటి కట్ అయ్యి పడిపోతుంది, వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. Like this, sometimes there may be changes in the structure of the chromosomes. That's why accordingly the chromosomal aberrations are divided into numerical aberrations and structural aberrations. And the numerical aberrations are again divided into two varieties. They are autosomal aberrations, sex chromosomal aberrations. Autosomal aberrations means in the first 22 sets, there will be change in the number. Sex chromosomal aberration means in the 23rd pair, there will be change in the number. In the 23rd pair, 2 chromosomes will be there. Instead of 2, sometimes 3, 4 may be there. Like this, depending upon the change in the number, either in the autosomes or in the sex chromosomes, we are again dividing them into autosomal aberrations and sex chromosomal aberrations. Autosomal aberrations. In the autosomal aberrations, under normal circumstances, for your easy understanding, I am telling you, 23 pairs of chromosomes are there. For your easy understanding, I am giving nomenclature. First pair, first place. Second pair, second slot. Third pair, third slot. Like this, 23 pairs, 23 slots are there. That means in each slot, one pair of chromosomes will be there. First slot, one pair. Second slot, one pair. Third slot, another pair. Fourth slot, another pair. In each and every pair, that means at each and every slot, how many chromosomes are there? 2. 2. Sometimes, instead of 2 is normal. Sometimes, instead of 2, there may be only 1. Sometimes, there may be 3. If 1 is there, then that is called monosomy. Mono means single, zomy means body, that means chromosomes, monosomy. If 3 are there, then that is called trisomy. Trisomy. There are different numerical aberrations with respect to autosomes, but whenever they are formed, the ability of that baby to survive in the womb of the mother itself will be lost. That means there will be abortion. But only in 3 cases they can survive. What are those 3 cases? Those 3 cases are nothing but having additional chromosome at position number 21 or position number 18 or position number 13. 21 position లో కానీ లేకపోతే 18th పొజిషన్లో కానీ 13th పొజిషన్లో కానీ ఒక్కోసారి 3 క్రోమోజోమ్స్ ఉంటే అవి మాత్రం సర్వై అయ్యి డెలివరీ కూడా అవుతుంది. మిగిలినవి కూడా ఉండొచ్చు కదా సార్ అంటే ఉంటాయి, కానీ వాళ్ళు బయటికి రారు, బయటకు వచ్చేలోపే చనిపోతారు. దట్స్ వై ఇన్ హ్యూమన్ పాపులేషన్స్ వీ కెన్ కమ్ అక్రాస్ త్రూ 3 న్యూమరికల్ ఆటోజోమల్ అబరేషన్స్. ఇన్ ద 3 న్యూమరికల్ ఆటోజోమల్ అబరేషన్స్, presence of 3 chromosomes at 21 position, presence of 3 chromosomes at 18th position, presence of 3 chromosomes at 13th position. Presence of 3 chromosomes at 21 position is called 21 trisomy. Similarly, if there is presence of 3 chromosomes at 18th position, then that is called 18 trisomy. 13 trisomy means 3 chromosomes are there at 13th position. If 21 trisomy is there, then that condition is called Down syndrome. Down syndrome. If 18 trisomy is there, then that is called Edwards syndrome. If 13th trisomy is there, then that is called Patau syndrome. Patau syndrome. Very simple. In the numerical variety, again autosomes. In the autosomes, we can come across 3 abnormalities. Trisomy condition at 21, trisomy condition at 18, trisomy condition at 30. With respect to sex chromosomal aberrations, sex chromosomal numerical aberrations, we have different varieties. Now see. (44 plus XXY. XXY. Please remember here, if Y chromosome is there, definitely will become males. If Y chromosome is there, then definitely male external appearance appear. ఖచ్చితంగా చూసేదానికి మేల్గా తయారవుతారు. దట్స్ వై హియర్ అండర్ నార్మల్ సర్కమ్స్టాన్సెస్ వాట్ ఈస్ ది నార్మల్ జెనెటిక్ కండిషన్ XY. Because of presence of Y, definitely they will become males, but there is one additional X chromosome. This is called a male with one additional X chromosome. సార్ ఇక్కడ 2 X chromosomes ఉన్నాయి కదా, ఫిమేల్ అవుతారు కదా, ఫిమేల్ విత్ అడిషనల్ Y chromosome ఎందుకు అనకూడదురా అంటే దిస్ ఇస్ ది రీజన్. వై? ఇఫ్ Y is there, definitely they will get male sex organs. That's why that is called male with additional X chromosomes. ఒక్కోసారి ఏమవుతుంది అంటే 44 plus X Y male with additional Y chromosome. This is called super male. This is called Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome. Only name is complicated, but the concept is so simple. Klinefelter syndrome. A British scientist, a European scientist, it is called according to that name. Klinefelter syndrome. This is called very simple, super male. Y is responsible for male characters. More Y chromosomes are there, that's why male characters. Remember, these individuals are absolutely normal, like that of other human beings only, but they will be more aggressive. Y chromosome itself is responsible for more aggressiveness. That's why males are more aggressive than females. But because of presence of 2 Y chromosomes, they are more aggressive. That's why they will always be involved in fights, feuds. ఎవడన్నా ఏదైనా ఒక్క మాట అన్నా కూడా వీళ్ళు వెంటనే వాళ్ళతో గొడవ పడిపోతారు. That's why they will become almost criminals in our society. That's why the super males will become criminals in our society. అందరు క్రిమినల్స్ ఎట్లా ఉంటుందంటే అట్లా ఏమి ఉండదు, కానీ వీళ్ళు మాత్రం ఖచ్చితంగా క్రిమినల్స్ అయ్యేదానికి ఛాన్స్ ఉంది. దెన్ ఇన్ ఫీమేల్స్ 44 plus XX. ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, ఇక్కడ Y chromosome లేదు కాబట్టి there is no Y chromosome. That's why they will become females. ఫీమేల్స్ 2 ఉంటే సరిపోతాయి కదా, ఇంకోటి ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉంది, ఫీమేల్ విత్ అడిషనల్ X chromosome. మేల్ విత్ అడిషనల్ Y chromosome అంటే ఏమన్నాం? సూపర్ మేల్ అన్నాం. ఫీమేల్ విత్ అడిషనల్ X chromosome అంటే సూపర్ ఫీమేల్ అంటాం. Y is the characteristic of males, X is the characteristic of females. ఇక్కడ Y ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉంది కాబట్టి సూపర్ మేల్ అంటాం, ఇక్కడ X ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉంది కాబట్టి సూపర్ ఫీమేల్ అంటాం. ఇంకొక కండిషన్ ఉంటుంది, 44 plus X0. X0 means only one X chromosome is there. Now tell me, what is the external appearance, male or female? మేల్ ఆ ఫీమేల్ అంటే Y ఉంటే మేల్ అవుతారు, లేకపోతే ఫీమేల్. ఇది ఇంకా ఇది యూనివర్సల్ లా, గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. సన్ రైజెస్ ఇన్ ది ఈస్ట్ అనేది ఎంత కరెక్టో ఇది కూడా అంతే. Y ఉంటే మేలు, లేకపోతే ఫీమేల్. ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతారు? ఫీమేల్ అవుతారు. కానీ ఫిమేల్లో 2 X chromosomes ఉన్నారు కదా, ఒకటే ఉంది. కాబట్టి దీన్ని ఏమంటామంటే ఫిమేల్స్ విత్ డెఫిషియన్సీ ఆఫ్ 1 X chromosome. A female with deficiency of 1 X chromosome. This is called Turner's syndrome. This is called Turner's syndrome. This is called Turner's syndrome. Like this, these are the 4 numerical sex chromosomal aberrations. Now let us discuss structural aberrations. Here the number of chromosomes is same 46, but in any one of the chromosomes there will be some abnormality. In the fifth chromosome, let us assume this is fifth pair of chromosome. In the fifth pair of chromosome we can come across deletion. One part will be deleted. Because of deletion there will be development of certain abnormal characters. కొన్ని నార్మల్ జీన్స్ మిస్ అయితే మనకు అబ్నార్మాలిటీస్ వస్తాయి. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ పటౌస్ సిండ్రోమ్. క్రైడు-చాట్ సిండ్రోమ్. Only this is there in our syllabus. Creidu-Chatt syndrome. This is because of deletion of fifth chromosome. Because of deletion of fifth chromosome we'll get one abnormality that is called Creidu-Chatt syndrome. ఎందుకు Creidu-Chatt అంటారంటే వాళ్ళకి మౌత్ చాలా చిన్నగా ఉంటుంది అన్నట్టు. వాళ్ళు ఏడ్చారనుకోండి, వాళ్ళు విజిల్ వేసినట్టు సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. టు బి ఫ్రాంక్ ఎట్లా సౌండ్ వస్తుంది అంటే ఒక హై ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. ఎట్లా వస్తుంది అంటే ఒక క్యాట్ అరుస్తుంది కాబట్టి అని ఆ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. Whenever the child with deletion on the fifth chromosome cries, then it results in the production of a sound which is similar to mewing of a cat. దట్స్ వై ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ క్రై డూ చాట్ సిండ్రోమ్. అంటే క్రై చేసినప్పుడు క్యాట్ లాగా సౌండ్ వస్తుంది కాబట్టి క్రై డూ చాట్ సిండ్రోమ్ అంటాం. This is the overview of chromosomal aberrations. Okay, we'll discuss briefly tomorrow. So easy to remember. నాన్ బయాలజీ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ లేదో కష్టం అనుకుంటారు, కానీ ఇక్కడ ఏమి ఉండదు అంతలా ఉన్నా. రెండు లాస్ ఉంటాయి అంతే. వై క్రోమోజోమ్ ఉంటే ఖచ్చితంగా మేల్స్ అవుతారు, లేకపోతే ఫిమేల్స్. అదంతా నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్ క్రోమోజోమ్స్ ఎన్ని ఉంటే దాన్ని బట్టి ఫిమేల్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ వస్తాయా లేదా. టుమారో విల్ డిస్కస్ దోస్ లాస్. ఓకే.